Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this one-on-one. I'm Martin Falls. Very pleased to have with me someone that a lot of you know here in the parish, Bryan Bunn. Now, a lot of you know him from his business aspect, and then he opens up a restaurant downtown, Lumiere's. So Bryan's been involved in a lot of things. He's good for our downtown area, our parish. He's always involved in something. He's a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. But guess what? At one of my daily breakfasts, I tugged on him and said, "You're coming on one-on-one." He took a deep breath, reluctantly said, okay, and he's here today. We'll take a break. When we come back, Bryan Bunn's my guest on one-on-one. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. When you got into that business world, God, I can ask this because I remember when I had to go call on Dickie Barker, and I missed a Dickie. One time he told me to call him Dickie. I said, I can never call you Dickie. I got to call you Mr. Dick. And I had to go call in some of those heavyweights, Mr. Trapp. I go to the hospital and meet with their executive director. And I'm in my 20s and I'm like, shaking and I'm going. And now I look back and I'm going, the younger people that come in here are sort of nervous too. But you had some heavyweights in the oil field business. Who was the one that made you the most nervous?
Oh my goodness, Melvin Capel.
Yeah.
He was with Global Pipelines, and the first 4 visits I made to him, calling on him for sales, he would read his newspaper every morning on Wednesday, and I would go on Wednesday mornings. He never lowered the newspaper to acknowledge I even existed. And finally I told him, look, I'll be here every Wednesday till you retire. Eventually, you're going to have to look at me and speak. Yeah. And then he kind of put the paper down and looked around it. And he said, "Are you Jack's son?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, "Okay, we'll have something for you next Wednesday." Persistence.
Yeah.
You have to be persistent. Even if you
they got to know you're confident, too, in your product.
Yes.
So you're right. You got to bang on that door. But wasn't that sort of the stereotypic person that ran? If you went to Mr. Chuck Patterson or Mr. Beadle back in the day, and all these people, and you walked in, they didn't give a damn.
No,
if you were there, they wanted you to earn it.
The atmosphere of the industry back then was way different than it is now. Yeah. A lot of these men were hard, and a lot of these guys grew up on drilling rigs that didn't have any safety to speak of. They didn't have a high tolerance for inexperience, so they were rough. I mean, they were rough. They were demanding. They were rough. They expected certain things. And if you didn't deliver, they weren't shy about telling you that you didn't do well.
And then that's sort of the norm in the oil field and gas industry is once you get a client, you better latch on to it. The phone better be on. You better get them what they want because they could switch like that.
It's a 24/7 deal. It's not a 9 to 5.
Your involvement in downtown and your involvement in different arenas. Recently, I saw you at the Bayou Arts.
Yes.
Downtown. I saw you when you did you were involved with the Whale and Thibodeau fundraiser. But I could go on and on about the things that you're involved in. The other day I walked in at your restaurant breakfast. You're on the phone lining up bands for next year's Bayou Arts.
Yes.
Where does that come from?
20 years ago this year, I got involved with Tab Benoit with Voice of the Wetlands. He wanted to hold a festival. We were sitting at his restaurant, the old post office here in town. It was Tab Benoit's Lagniappe Cafe. And he started talking about doing a music festival. And he and I have been friends since childhood. So he asked if I would help. And I said, sure. And it's something, music obviously is a passion and runs deep in my family. So I said yes. And we went raise some money, and Don Schwab, I believe, was parish president at the time, and during the festival, there was a tropical storm coming in. You'd have to look it up. It was 20 years ago. I don't remember the name. Yeah. But Don Schwab was on the radio telling everybody to stay home, and Tab followed up behind him and told everybody to come out to the festival. We were having a great time inside the restaurant.
But you know what I remember? Tab called me, and then I called Don, and we moved it to the Civic Center.
No, that was a different
That was another
festival.
year?
That was
Okay.
another year, yeah.
I remember that. The whole festival.
We moved the whole festival. Yes, we did.
So
Yes.
tropical storm and all, music plays on.
That's right. And Voice of the Wetlands, I mean, it was, how can you not?
Yeah, had some good bands. I remember when LaRue was just coming off their prime,
Yep.
they would be there. And God, my God, you've seen the talent
Oh, goodness, yes.
in Houma.
It's incredible.
It's abundant. It's almost like Nashville of Louisiana, right here in the area. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have so much talent here, incredible talent. Tab, Corey Duplashan, Josh Garrett, Zach Sheremy, one of the best guitarists I've ever listened to in my life. Kevin Kowicki, who people haven't heard from in a long time, is incredibly talented. It's everywhere, and it's almost as if we take it for granted. In Houma, you can go pretty much anywhere you want on any night of the week and find really great music.
Yeah.
And it's not like there anywhere else in the country. You don't hear about too many bands from Nebraska or even Oklahoma or whatever. It's spotted around the country, and we've been blessed to have some of the best talent to ever come out of this country, born and raised right here in our backyard.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Well, you're right about Kevin Kowicki. And, I know he had an accident with his hand, but he found a way to come back and play again. But my God, just watching him, even as a kid, we were around the same age, if not the same age, but he was just so talented on that guitar.
He makes it look easy.
Yeah. While we were all trying to be jocks and beating each other up on football fields and all that, Kevin was sitting in the back basement playing guitar, and he mastered it pretty good.
And he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
He didn't sacrifice his body.
Right. Randy Jackson.
Amazing. New Orleanian, lives in Long Island and splits his time between Long Island and New Orleans now.
Yeah.
Has a incredibly wonderful wife who I met for the first time just before the festival. I also met his son.
Yeah.
Incredible vocalist, incredible guitarist. Has been all over the world playing with different orchestras and obviously Zebra and multiple other people. And a great guy to boot, just as nice as anyone you've ever met. It's like your next door neighbor. He's just one of those guys.
But it seems like although you didn't pick up an instrument early, and you're playing drums now.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it that.
Well, okay, well, you're attempting.
Yes.
And your dad was so involved in music. Was that some way for you to make a connection, or was it already inbred in you that somewhere in your life, music was going to be a part of it?
Music has always been a part of my life. The ability to play an instrument didn't come on literally till about 8 weeks ago when I decided, man, I'm getting old.
Right.
One of us needs to learn what Dad knew. And I decided to try it. And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm taken from Robbie Canoyer. So.
Yeah. Did you hear your dad playing a lot in the house, or did he, from that point, he had it mastered already and just could go whenever he wanted
Well,
to?
by the time I came around, he was obviously good at what he did.
Yeah.
But we had the only garage of the friends he had that played music: Jimmy George, Roger George, Carl Kimball.
Some more great players. Yeah.
Errol
Yeah.
Trosclair.
Yeah.
Leroy Trosclair. They would come to the house in Lafayette Woods, and they would practice during the week while we were trying to sleep to go to school. And so, yeah, as a young person, I laid in bed many a nights and listened to some of the greatest musicians that one could imagine play in my garage.
Is that what made you stay up late?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
My whole life, I went to bed hearing da 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 da.
Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's entrenched in your brain,
Yes.
and so I'm sure they were playing some songs that you hear today that you go, boy, it takes me right back.
Mustang Sally. Anytime I hear that song, I can almost envision them in the garage.
Mustang Sally and Brown Eyed Girl.
Yeah, that's another one. There's many.
The most requested song of all time, Brown Eyed Girl.
I didn't know that.
Mailbox Money.
Mailbox
Yeah.
Money.
Tony Hazelden, who wrote 6 #1 songs, I tease him all the time. I said, man, you probably sit by your mailbox, wait for the mailman to come in. And he says, no, I never had that Garth Brooks #1.
Ah.
But Tony Arata, who wrote The Dance, was up here. Tony had arranged for all the Garth Brooks songwriters to come upstairs at HTV one day. We had a little gathering.
That's awesome.
And to hear him play that song, and Tony Arata said he was playing this song at the Bluebird Cafe, and Garth Brooks had just got in town. He was playing there. Garth Brooks turned to him and said, one day I'm going to make that song famous. I love that song. Tony Arata was like, okay, sure. He did.
Wow.
When he got his first contract, he put that song on. I think it's still the biggest grossing song of all time. And that's what Garth Brooks became bigger than life at that point. So Tony Arata can sit by his mailbox
and collect the check.
Still collect the check. What a nice check that is. What do you see from here? You ever thought about running for office?
Yes. I haven't because of my children.
How old are they? Talk about them a little bit.
Okay, I have a 28-year-old son, I have a 25-year-old son, and a 16-year-old daughter.
You know what's impressive? You knew their ages real quick.
I did the math this morning.
No, but I see you with your children. You're a hands-on father.
I try to be.
Yeah. And your wife, we know she's a LeCompte from a big, big family.
She's got 8 brothers and sisters and hundreds of cousins.
Yeah.
It's a huge family.
So how is it for, not reunions, for Christmas and Thanksgiving?
They're a very, very tight group. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought I came from a big family because we had four sons, and until the Porhams moved into Lafayette Woods, we were the largest family there. They had 7.
I forgot about the Porham.
Yeah. I joke about the first time that we actually did a family function was for Blessing of the Fleet. And her uncle, on her mother's brother, Uncle Carol, had a 63-foot steel hull shrimp boat. And when we pulled up to the boat, which was in front of her grandmother's house, there was people on the roof of the boat, there was people on the bow of the boat, there was people on the side of the boat, in the boat, there was people, it looked like a Haitian refugee boat. And I said, Wendy, who are all these people? And she said, well, that's all my first cousins. And I thought, oof, that's a lot of people.
You married into a hornet's nest.
No,
But they're good people.
They are amazing people. My father-in-law, Mr. Otis LeCompte, is literally my eyes. He is an incredible man. Yeah. Always has been. He's getting up in age now. He's 85. He and Miss Janice both. Just an amazing person. Works so hard for his kids.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
I had 2 LeComptes, well, 3 LeComptes in my class that were cousins, but Celeste was in my class. Mm-hmm. Of course, the twins. I had the twins at the time.
Well, the twins are Kyle and Lo.
That's and one of them passed.
One of them passed.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Otis's children. Celeste was Uncle Jacob's.
Right.
That's Mr. Otis's brother.
Yeah. So that's part of the cousins.
That's part of the cousins, yes. Huge family.
Yeah.
Huge family.
And Jacob, of course, the comp will be running a lot. I teased him the other night. I said, I'd like to see the helmet you wore at Vanderbilt. Not for Nixon. I just want to see the size of it.
Yep.
He will call me because I made that comment, but he was a good athlete too.
Tremendous.
A lot of good athletes.
Yeah.
So you wanted to run. Is it still out of the picture?
No.
Did you run for something?
Perhaps, maybe one day. What I was mentioning before is when you have younger children, politics can be ugly. And I never wanted to expose my children to that. It's not fair for them. Right away, half the people love you, half the people hate you. Mm-hmm. And kids need some form of protection from that type of thing. So it's not something that I would ever consider as long as I have, children in school.
I sort of joke when we had all these parish president candidates coming in. I'd always sit with them before. I said, look, this is not going to be a forum on this channel for who slept with a goat in the 4th grade. And they look at me like, did you just say that? Yes, bad. I did, because that's a bad situation. But when you run, they can say anything about you,
and
hoping it
unfounded.
sticks. Yeah.
Unfounded.
Yeah. And so that's what I was saying is, look, don't come up with nonsense, because it's talk about the person, what they're capable of doing, and move forward in that way. But you're right. The reason you wouldn't run is for your children.
Yes.
Now, when they get a little older and they're out of it, Bryan Bunn / what would you want to run for?
Don't know. Obviously, I love our community. I love the parish. I think it's worth saving. We've got a lot of good people that live here, hardworking, honest, just good people. You don't find people like this anywhere else in the world. We're very giving. We're very loving. We're very close. We come together in times of need. And you don't see that in a lot of places. So culturally, it's one of the richest areas that I've ever visited. And I've been to many different places around the world. And there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
To quote Dorothy. Yeah.
That's to quote Dorothy, yes.
What do you do for fun? I know you hunt.
I love to hunt, love to fish. I have a very close friend by the name of Timmy Fungi who keeps me grounded. I enjoy time with him.
Wait, say that again? Timmy keeps you grounded?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Timmy's going to be at his house clapping right now.
Well, he may be. He is an amazing individual. And I've learned a lot from Timmy.
You know, as we close, I told you this show's going to fly by. So you're probably worried for nothing.
Nah.
Yeah, all right. If I were able to get your dad, get your mom, get your family, your brothers, your workers, get your wife, can't leave her out, children, relatives, all those that comes on that boat that you talk about. And I said, in one word, I want you to describe Bryan Bunn to me. But I said, let me bring in a couple more people. Let me bring in a few principals at Vanderbilt Catholic, a few teachers, a few of your classmates, and I gave them the same chance, but they had to get together and have a consensus on one word. What would you hope the one word would be?
Love.
Okay.
Love.
So all that promiscuousness, that fun you had back in the day, all those just off the wall kind of times you had, through all that, there was a deep heart.
Fun is fun, but when things go south, you have to be there for those people. And I would hope that they know that I will be there.
So you're sort of describing your mom and dad, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You reap what you sow, I think you said earlier.
I did.
Bryan, congratulations on your success. Thank you for what you do for the area. And I know a lot of times it goes unrecognized, but that's why I wanted to get you on the show.
You know, one more thing before we close is my success has been a collaborative effort with every employee we've ever had. Nobody has done what we've done or what they've done on their own. You can't get by without the two guys manning your cameras right now, and the people in the back room. Nor could I do what we have done without those guys. So for them, thank them, because everything that my kids have enjoyed and everything that I've enjoyed has been because of others, not because of me specifically or my dad specifically. It's because of those people around us.
Potpourri.
That's it.
All right. Bryan, good to see you.
Same here, Morton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.